So let's take them back to the beginning of when we first met.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Oh, yes. I absolutely do remember.
Hi, I'm Michelle, owner of Lively House, an interior design studio passionate about making casual living beautiful. I'm a desert dweller, a mom to 2 lively kids, and now the podcast host of Conversations Over Coffee. With this podcast, I wanted to make a space for all types of conversations: business, design, health, and lifestyle. Anything goes here. I believe that our own personal stories might motivate and completely transform another's story simply as they engage in the conversation. I'll be inviting guests on who will bring a new perspective to your life and mine. There is so much to gather and grow from one another. I cannot wait for us to do it here together. So whether you're listening while taking your daily commute to work or sipping coffee at your favorite local spot, get ready to dig into the real stuff, because this is Conversations Over Coffee. To kick off Conversations Over Coffee, we have none other than Christina Cordero, my closest friend, fellow career woman, and truly a rock for me personally. In this episode, we discuss our story of friendship, shared faith, passion for our careers, health tips and tricks, and how much of a blessing our connection to one another has been. The hand of God has been so evident in our relationship. I'm excited for you to meet my beautiful friend, Christina. I need to ask you, how do you take your coffee?
Okay, well, this could be the whole podcast. Let's see. How do I give you the short version? So I've always been a black coffee person, especially my first cup. Woo! I always start out with the bullet, then fiery hot.
Yes, that's intense.
So I love a black cup of coffee, and then if I do have a second cup, then I need to dilute it some, and I prefer an almond milk with a touch of sweetener like stevia. However, over the last couple weeks, things have changed for me in regard to my caffeine intake. I've, over the last, I would say probably 6 months, I've been doing a much, much better job of paying attention to my body and listening to it and doing things that will care for it better.
Yeah.
And I have definitely realized that caffeine is something that really is hard for me and my headaches. I've been suffering from headaches for 20 plus years. So I finally have been able to, cut out caffeine. And
which is big.
Insane for me, because every time I would try, it didn't work.
No.
And my husband will just drop it on a random Monday, and he'll go 3 weeks, and I'm just like, you're nuts.
No.
It takes way too much willpower for me, and it's consuming. So I am proud of being able to kind of scale back and eliminate it. And it's been really helping. So
I've always said there's no diet in the world I will follow where it tells me not to
drink coffee.
Yep. I'm like, well, I will drink coffee. I'll
and
break that
was
rule.
It was one of those things where you then, I was thinking the same way, and then you just suffer more. So I was suffering. That's my personal experience, obviously, and not everybody's. But I sure do love it. I love the experience of it.
Yes.
I love the ritual of it. I love the
smell,
stimulant side effects of it.
Yes.
I love all of it. I mean, it is, my favorite drug, essentially.
I know. It's the first thing I do in the morning.
Yeah.
Is make that cup of coffee.
There's so many wonderful things about it.
I'll even have a decaf cup at night.
Just so you can experience it.
Just so that I can have it. Like, instead of going for dessert, because I'm a snacker, especially at night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so instead of going for the snacks, I've been defaulting to a decaf cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And it's just so soothing. It's comforting. It's home.
Yeah. It is home.
Yeah, we can do a whole podcast on it.
Yeah, we could talk about coffee for ages. And then all the coffee shops we need to tour. Because
Oh,
you're always on the front lines of knowing the newest and best coffee shops out there.
That truly is my love language. Honestly, there's nothing better than going to a new coffee shop and experiencing it, or going to a coffee shop that I'm used to going to and them knowing your name.
Norm.
Yes. I love it. Makes me
I love
feel,
it.
yeah, support them all the time. Do you miss coffee? Do you miss the caffeine? Because
So
you are
I
detaking.
am, yeah. For instance, you got me a decaf coffee today, and
Yes.
it is delicious.
Mm.
So I've been filling my cup, and that experience, no problem with decaf.
Mhm.
I was weaning and had half calf there for a while. And I honestly kind of feel like I have more energy without it in a way.
What?
The mornings are tough because I'm kind of groggy and I really could
Yeah.
use it right away in the morning.
Yes.
But I do feel as though I have a little bit more energy throughout the day. It's more balanced, I guess you could say. But yes, I do miss it, that morning time when I think it just turns my brain on and I feel like I can organize my thoughts better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So do you take tea now too, though?
So I have tried a product called Ticino. It's supposed
Never
to
heard.
taste like coffee, and it's actually a dandelion root tea.
Okay.
And I've dabbled in a couple different flavors, and it actually is a really good alternative or replacement. And I can do that if I'm going to add my creamer to it. And then it tastes like I'm doing a coffee. But then
Wait, but this is a tea.
it's a tea. Yeah, and it actually has more health benefits to it than...
And you add creamer to your tea?
Yeah, but it looks like coffee, and it really does taste a lot like coffee. So I've been doing that.
It's like a mind. Like
But
it's tricking you.
Yeah, but as far as tea, caffeinated,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing
caffeine.
decaf teas. Yeah, Tazo, the passion fruit, is my favorite right now.
Oh, I forgot about. Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
Starbucks, right?
I think they have something different. I buy the concentrate
Mhm.
Tazo,
Yes.
and then I mix it with water, and that's my afternoon treat. So yeah, because it's the ritual of having the afternoon coffee, So sometimes the tea will kind of fill that space.
And so is this a life change of no caffeine, or do you
No.
plan on going back to it?
I think it's part of. It's kind of one of those decisions. Do I wanna make my headaches feel worse? Do I want to possibly have a really bad headache, and just deal with it and enjoy that, cup of coffee? Or do I want to just feel good today? So if there's a day where I'm just dragging, I'm like, I really would like and could use that caffeine, I'll drink a cup of coffee. It's not like I'm not an all or nothing. I don't feel like I can give it up completely and don't need to necessarily.
It'll be like a treat now.
Yeah, it's kind of more like, and it will be interesting to see if I, when I reintroduce it, will it give me that headache or not? And we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're headache free now.
I am somewhat headache free. My workouts give me headaches sometimes too, just all the tension and life stress. But the caffeine was making it worse.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I love so much about you is that you're a researcher.
Oh, yes.
You're
almost to a fault.
Yes. I mean, gosh, just not even with yourself, but with your friends.
Uh-huh. How many things do I research for you?
Yes.
This is what I found.
You sister it over onto me.
Yes, I do.
And
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But you are such a researcher. And the fact that it's like the questions. I have another question, but why? And the whys.
Yes.
So like, why is this giving me a headache? And the caffeine is it? And what, like all of those things, I love that about you, that you uncover them in your pursuit of, I'm gonna figure this out, the root of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you have figured out some of the root of that.
Yeah, it is
and
really
that's been a life change for you.
I'm honestly really proud of myself to
Yes.
have done this because it's something that I've wanted to try for the last 5 years and I haven't been able to do it. So this is a big thing for me. And you're right. If it's a topic or something that I enjoy, I go really deep and start researching a lot and learning. And I think it's something about me that I'm always growing. Like I'm always learning and wanting to be better and continue to grow. So I think that is part of why I go so deep. Yeah. Yeah. In the researching game.
and health has always been such a big one.
I love it. I love it. I enjoy it so much. I to the point where, you name a diet, I've probably been through it or this type of workout and I've done it. across the board, it's something that's really important to me and I enjoy. So yeah.
So let's take them back to the beginning of when we first met.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Oh, yes. I absolutely do remember.
I actually don't even remember like how old Easton was, but we met at such a critical point in both of our lives.
Yeah, it was I think a turning point for both of us, which to me feels like such a divine interaction.
Yeah.
And it was at church, right?
Yes.
And I had just made the really big life change for myself, leaving a job that I had been at for 15 years. And I was venturing into becoming or being a stay-at-home mom. And I had the opportunity to, join a Wednesday Bible study in the middle of the day.
Yes.
And
it was Hebrews.
Yes.
Our Hebrews class.
Yes. And so we had the opportunity to meet there, and I just can't imagine it being any differently.
And I remember, and I think I've shared this with you, you literally walking in late the first class.
Oh.
Wait,
is that a surprise?
No, it's not. It's not a bad thing. But
no.
I remember showing up.
That's how I roll.
Yes. But I love it. Today you were on time. So big points. Okay. I remember you coming in, and I'm there with my newborn, and I'm so vulnerable in all my own emotions and feeling super insecure and just, what am I doing? I'm in this Hebrews class, but I just wanted to put myself out there and meet people. And that was actually the only class available during that time to sign up for. So I'm like, sure, let's do it. I'm learning Hebrew. And you walked in late, but with like such confidence, and just, I was like, oh my gosh, she's such a beautiful person. Who is this person? I must meet her. I must chat with her. And you just asked such thoughtful, thorough questions throughout the class. And then it wasn't until it was our last project together. We finally sat together.
Did the timeline, I think.
We did the timeline. And I came in unprepared. I was late for that class. You came in prepared with your ruler, with your markers, ready to go. It should have been the opposite, but I don't know. It was very us, actually, in that moment.
I think just hearing that, like our personalities and how I don't know, like how I can be very uber prepared, right?
Yes.
And you're normally,
show up
off the cuff. Running with scissors entirely, but you're a doer, and you're like you said, you signed up. You're like, I just want to meet people, and that's something that I love about you is your ability to just jump in and be vulnerable with others really quickly, because you know and trust that making connections with people is important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was good. And that was like our first, it's like, oh, she wants to be my friend. Okay. All right. I'm pursuing her because I'm a pursuer.
You are a pursuer.
I mean, I'm only pursuing because I feel it in my heart and it makes sense. Like, oh, I see the connection. I see the click. Then I need to make sure they see it too. So let's connect.
And you did see it, yes. And there's no doubt that there was a connection for sure.
Yeah.
Because here we are today.
I know. Okay, so fast forward. So then we end our class, and then I pursue you as my friend, and we connect, and it's easy. And we're starting to do life together. We join a life group. That's amazing.
And you were the big transition outside of just, having a newborn was starting your own company.
Yes. I mean, okay. Yes. See, I jumped forward
too fast. So I left
fast.
my job, and you were starting your career and owning your lively house.
It was scary. There was two scary pivotal moments in our lives. Yeah. I had just had Easton, left my career altogether. I actually really wasn't sure what I was doing. I was just kind of like, I'm just going for it. Sticking with my theme of life. I'm just doing it. I'm just trying it out.
Yeah. You just have to start.
Yeah.
You're really good at starting.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the slow pace that I get really impatient with.
That's why I'm here.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So when did you decide I think I'm ready to go back into the workforce? When I pulled you in to work with me?
Well, so also big, thing during that time for me was not only adjusting to staying at home with my two daughters, we also were working towards becoming foster parents and had a foster son for a certain amount of time during that time. And we was also COVID. So there was a lot happening.
I know.
And so I really wanted to focus on being there with the girls. And really that was a calling for me that I heard the Lord tell me to leave my job after 15 years. And to be honest, it made no sense when you looked at it financially, when you looked at it, my path, working up the corporate ladder, it really didn't make sense. And sometimes when God has crazy ideas, then you know it's from him.
Yeah.
And so that's how I felt. And so I was adjusting during that time to these new roles. And so after having my foster son for a little bit, it was getting to the point where I was feeling the urge to create some more structure back in my life. And I was having the impression that I needed to work or that I loved to work. And, you and I are doing life together at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I think we could both remember that one night where we had an evening together with some friends. And this group of friends, we like to talk about work and our careers and growth. And you had, I think, said to me across the way was, as soon as Christina's ready, I'll hire her.
Yes.
And again, pursuing, as you do.
My current theme of life. Yes.
And that kind of gave me the planted the seed, I guess you could say.
I remember.
I've been having that feeling and that knowing that I love to work and contribute in that way. So we had a long conversation and kind of started dreaming up what that would look like. And
I know. I remember, I want to circle back to fostering really fast and what that process was like. Because when we were taking the Hebrews class, were you guys already in the process of fostering? Like,
no.
If somebody wanted to foster, how long does it take?
So it took, it depends what type of person you are and how quickly you get your paperwork in.
And what kind of person would you say you were in that process?
When it comes to the type of minutia and those tasks, I'm very slow at. They're not tasks that I enjoy doing. Filling out paperwork, scheduling appointments, that kind of stuff is not my strength. So it took us longer than probably what it could take. I would say generally about 6 months. I think it took us probably 8 months.
Yeah.
So we, at the point when you and I met, no, we had not started that process yet.
Okay.
And it was actually a process of something that I think, God was still working on my husband's heart about.
So it was
moving
something that
forward.
You wanted to do.
It was initially my idea.
Oh,
I think
I didn't know
God
that.
has always put, caring for those that need the help or filling in the gap.
Right.
And Paul and I, when we had a trip to Haiti years ago in 2010, the idea of adoption had, dropped into our hearts, but never really, it was just kind of always sitting there. And we then eventually for me, with the help of friends that had already experienced fostering, that idea then became more pronounced in our lives and hearts to move forward, or mine. And then it was more about, me praying on Paul being open to it and him softening his heart towards it. So, we did not apply and start the process for fostering until March of 2020.
And then once
when the COVID hit.
Right when COVID hit, yeah. And then I remember, once that was fully done, completed paperwork, shortly after you received the first call. You got your first call. Yeah, it depends obviously in your state and the need, but here in Arizona, as soon as you essentially open your license and turn on or go on the list, they say to expect a call that day.
that's how great the need is. So it was interesting because we turned on put ourselves on the list at like a 1:50 in the afternoon, and the afternoon and the evening goes by, and I was crawling into bed, and it was like close to 9:30, and I was like, I feel like we're gonna get a call, and Paul's like, it's so late, no. And then within 1 minute, the phone rang.
Yeah.
And I could tear up thinking about it and just reliving that experience and walking through those conversations. And you don't know a lot. They don't tell you much. They don't know a lot. And so
about the family dynamics.
The family, the child, they know very little.
Yeah.
They can, only tell you so much. So by 10:30, we had a little boy in our home.
I remember the next day, I just got chills.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. And I want to pause and say that I really appreciate your ability to get emotional and to feel those emotions.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at expressing those emotions out. I have a hard time. So I admire that a lot about you.
Well, thank you. I think we all experience them differently. And I could tell this story another time and it might not hit me that way, but I think I haven't relived that experience in a while and shared it in a while. So, when you can just put yourself and place yourself back in that environment and, the space that you're around and what it looked like and how it felt.
Yes, I remember. Well, I mean, I remember that next morning you had sent a message, and I remember exactly where I was outside that morning, and you were like, we have our first foster child with us now, and I'm like, what do you need? And it's amazing, our community.
Clothes.
Yes,
baby stuff, all the things. He was 15 months, so we needed all the 15-month stuff.
With such a glad heart, we have such an awesome community. We share such a group of great friends that was so excited to share and to give, and that was awesome.
Yeah, we were definitely supported in that time, no doubt. And felt, the presence of God and everyone that, supported and helped us through that time of transitioning.
Yeah.
So it was.
And how long were you with him?
10 months. Yeah.
Was it 10 months?
Yep. We had him for 10 months. He is, just an amazing kid.
Yes. I love him.
He is so wonderful. And we, it was interesting though, because my youngest was 4 at the time. And so I think so. Math is not my forte, so I could be off a little bit.
Nope, you're right.
But I believe she was 4 or 3. And so it was kind of, being thrown back into that toddler stages when just like a pregnancy, but you're just quickly into you just skip the newborn phase and jump into the toddler running around phase. So
but also we were parallel with our 2 youngest now at that point.
Yes.
And so bringing you in, I was like, we have the same age, your foster child and my youngest. We were like right there parallel with it. And I remember looking at you that night. We're sharing a great dinner with our group of friends and pursuing your heart of, please come work for me. I had just finished a really hard project, wrapping that up. And it was such a big monumental moment for me, my career too, and ready to bring somebody on full time. And it just felt right with you. And the minute I could see it in your eyes that you were interested.
Oh, I was thinking, I was like,
Yes, I saw it. And I was like, I'm not letting this one go.
I'm taking this one home.
Yeah. Yes, I remember. And then I remember us sitting in your car after that dinner and just really talking about it. That was good. And so I was trying to remember how long we worked together. Was it a year? I think it was a year.
Because that was end of January, I want to say.
Yeah.
I started, I think, probably beginning of February, and then we were together.
We were
I was working
in my home
for a whole year.
We worked in the home together, which was amazing. That you trekked all the way to, at the time it was like 30-minute drive back and forth from your house, which, and where I lived was a really long drive in the desert, all the way out in Cave Creek. So yeah, that was fun. And I just loved the energy that you brought to the studio. And I really feel like, I'm not going to get emotional, but
yes, you can.
Well, I mean, I miss your energy, and I miss our conversations when we got to work together, it was half therapy, half work.
It is. I think, something that I've learned about reflecting back, it's so important for me to be able to collaborate and really get close with those that I work with. It's important for me. And so that was, it was a learning moment for me to know that is something I should look for, in any job that I have, in any interaction in my work, in the workplace. And the other, man, Michelle, you awarded me so many things during that time. Obviously, the experience of interior design and learning about it, and in a more global, broader perspective, that I am a creative. And
truly, I don't think you gave yourself enough credit for it. And I'm happy that you just took a chance on Lively House and you saw my vision, all my many visions. And you were on board, and I couldn't believe it. I think I knew in the back of my head that it wasn't going to be forever. I just knew your talent was too big, it needed a bigger space to really grow. And I just wanted to take advantage of all the nuggets that you were teaching me as I was showing you along the way.
Yeah. We were teaching each other.
We were bouncing off one another. I'm like, I'm okay. Before I ask this question, let's talk about how the day you told me you were leaving.
Oh, okay. We're going there, huh?
Yeah, that was hard. It was unexpected. Well, I knew.
Which you do not like the unexpected.
No, I don't. It's hard for me to transition with change because because I'm a visionary and I'm tracking it with this vision, and I'm like,
and then it's a
blinders
derailment. Yeah.
Yes, because I have my blinders on and I'm like I'm focused and I'm driven in that vision. Yep. So whenever you threw me that curveball, we're in the studio, so I'm looking at the same spot that you sat at.
Yeah.
You can't even turn around to look at it. You're not looking at it. I see that spot, and it just hasn't. It was. Yeah.
That was a hard moment. It was like it's like it was beautifully hard, I guess, in that I was nervous. I didn't want to tell you, but I wanted to tell you because it's hard. It's hard to know that you are going to disappoint someone, let them down. And not only that, here I was moving away from something that was so fulfilling in my life, right? And just working alongside your best friend and collaborating and being creative together and having therapy sessions together and supporting each other. There was probably as many tears shed in this space as there was, drawing and designing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, but the beauty part of it was you and that your ability to receive my message, my information, my leaving that day. And anytime I share anything that's going on that might be hard to share or feedback, like you are the most open to receiving it. Oh, wow. And your honesty made it beautiful. And I know we had a long conversation here about all of it.
Yes.
And why and how and we.
I think I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked, even though, yes, I was just shocked that this was happening right now and without a warning.
Yeah.
But at this, it's hard because in that when I reflect back and I look at it, I'm like, here I am, so excited for my best friend to have this amazing opportunity to go back into this new field in a different position. And I want to be excited for you, but I'm also fighting my own selfish reasons but I'm losing you. I think knowing that I was still going to have you part of my life made the blow a lot easier. It'd be like, well, you're not going away forever in my life, right?
Well, I think that's when I say the beauty part of it is that the strength of our friendship is greater than, me working here and your vision for Lively House and, your needs and wants in your business. And so it was hard, and yet it was easy because we knew that our friendship outlasted any of that, right?
Yeah.
And that's not always out there. That doesn't always happen.
It's like a marriage. I'm actually, just as we're talking, thinking about, wow, we were really good friends before working together, became even closer while working together. Yeah. And through my crazy visions, my kind of startup design studio, we managed to still be really close friends. Went through, I call it a heartbreak when, we parted you left Lively House. And I think our friendship even got better.
Yeah.
Afterwards, because we were with each other, all day. So we didn't really hang out as much.
Yeah. Because we had our fill.
We had our fill. We had our therapy, and, our kids do life together too. Yes. And so that was hard to connect them together, while we were working together all day. So when you did leave, I felt like, oh, well, hey, let's reconnect next week. Yeah. And we just continued on life together, which was awesome. And we still are. Mm-hmm. So that's great.
That's right.
So now what are you doing?
So now it's interesting how it all kind of came full circle from my departure back in 2019 with my previous employer. I was working for a national builder for those 15 years that I mentioned in a couple different capacities, procurement and service. And then, like I said, you awarded me the opportunity to be creative and tap into interior design and realize how much I enjoyed it and loved it. And
we're good at it.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And so the opportunity came in that my old employer, had a new position that really kind of blended the old positions that I had combined with interior design. So now I oversee design centers across the nation for this builder and driving process improvement, which, I enjoy. I'm always asking and breaking down those questions.
So
and
good.
What's the workflow and
yes.
Optimizing processes, and then also being able to provide creative feedback as far as materials and trends of what goes into our studios. So
yeah. I love that you left Lively House, but you still carried that on.
Yeah.
And I look at you now also as a design peer in a way, like, what are you learning? What's new? What's trending?
Yeah.
We can connect on that level now. And that's amazing. And it's like our working relationship didn't have to end there also.
Right. Our love for design still is there, and we enjoy sharing in it. And really, there's no way I would have gotten this position if it wouldn't have been for me feeling called to leave originally, for me meeting you and getting that experience with you, and then being here. So, it's a testament to listening and following and being obedient.
Yes. Obedience.
When it's scary and hard, it made no sense. Like, I'm telling you, like, made no sense. We were wondering, it was going to be the rice and beans diet.
Yeah.
And it was, and within 3 months, God moved mountains and for us financially, and continues to do so and shows up. So, and there's no doubt God put you in my life for all of this to work out to where we are today.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to see the rest of
our story,
our lifetime of friendship together. Yeah.
I'm just I love that our kids do life together too.
Yeah.
And that they want to. They make us actually connect. Not that we don't want to,
yes.
but in the days where we have our plans.
When they're chirping in your ear, call.
Yes.
When you have to can't tell them who's on the other line because she's gonna
or I'm on the road and your name pops through on the car, and I'm like, well, I know where this is gonna go. I love that our girls love to hang out with each other so much. Even at times when I see them at drop off and I've catch them holding hands walking in, it really warms my heart.
Yeah, just to see their friendship and their experience as friends as well.
Okay, so you've also recently uncovered another big health diagnosis?
Yeah, it is a diagnosis. Wow, what a journey this has been.
Mm-hmm.
So I was diagnosed, was it last week or the week before? I think it was last week. With
that recent?
Yeah, with ADD. So this is putting this out there, people.
You are so brave.
But I've been doing so much learning and growing about it that I think, so many people have supported me in learning about it that, hey, if me sharing my story and a little bit of my experience could help anybody, then it's worth it. So my daughter was diagnosed last August, and we were kind of on that journey for a couple years, 2-3 years. Yeah. And again, my researching, love for researching and just wanting to understand her better. I really dove in and went really deep and listened and chewed on every podcast that I could get my hands on or my ears on. And all the books, the materials. And as I'm uncovering all these details, I'm like, what in the world? This might be me. There's so much that is me in this space. And and so, it became a conversation in our home that maybe mom has it too. And conversations with my husband. Do you think it might be, And so I had mentioned that I've been doing a really good job at trying to pay attention to myself, and making those appointments are not fun for me.
No.
It's something I put off always, and it's actually a symptom of having ADD. Mundane tasks that you just don't like to do, you avoid, and you think about them constantly, and you just don't do it. It's hard to get started. And so I really dedicated this year to getting all those appointments, and finally had my appointment with a psychiatrist last week and was diagnosed. So, which is, interesting. Just to receive the diagnosis is very validating. It's scary and it's frustrating because you're like, what if I could have known all this a long time ago?
Right.
Through childhood, and had better tools growing up. What would it look like differently? And then also it's very validating because you're like, this is why my brain does what it does.
Right.
So,
and is it something that, and excuse me for being naive about this.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot.
In this
department.
I don't think a lot of people do.
No.
Yeah.
Is it something that we're born with, or is this something that you inherit later on in life?
They don't have, without being able to describe it like someone that is, educated and trained on it. Essentially, they don't have a one way that, this is how it is created, but it is hereditary. It typically shows up in childhood. And so those are two of the main things. And it is hereditary.
It is hereditary.
I have multiple family members that are, some are diagnosed, some are undiagnosed. And so it wasn't, a surprise. Like the dots are connecting, right?
Right.
And so really it's just a neurological difference. Neurodivergence is really kind of a term that is being more recognized and understood, in that the way, those with ADD or ADHD and autism, OCD, different, neurodivergency, neurodivergent traits show up. And so my ADD presents very differently than my daughter's. And actually, she would be more described as ADHD. And there's a lot more I could explain in that really they are only calling it ADHD for certain reasons. But she has the hyperactive side, whereas I don't. Was diagnosed inattentive. And so
so there's different levels of ADHD. There's not one.
And it depends which doctor. There's one doctor that really describes it having 9 different types.
Yeah.
So it can present very differently. And so we're walking out, what that looks like for my daughter in school, what it looks like for me, how it affects our family. So yeah, some, really big learnings.
Big
here.
learning.
Yeah.
And do you look at, your youngest, and are you starting to
I pay attention, and me,
Yes.
I'm always in tuned, and I'm very highly sensitive to my daughters, and so I'm paying attention to my youngest.
Yeah.
And
such an advocate for your kids.
yeah, I mean, it's challenging in that there is and needs to have special attention towards it. The challenge with, school difficulties of being able for children to sit in a class all day, and these
Yes.
standardized schools, and our kids aren't standardized kids. And
the school that we, send them to, a beautiful school, but a very rigorous.
yeah, it is. It is rigorous. And I love all of the teachers and the staff there. It is a very warm community. I think more from a higher level of just our schooling system and what we expect school to look like, and behaviors and compliance. It doesn't allow for, those with, some neurodiversity to really fit in super well. And that's not to say that the school is not working with us. They are. My daughter has accommodations, and we're working through all that, but it can be heavy and hard because it's multiple emails. It's learning and educating and training teachers that don't know anything about it. And it's receiving phone calls throughout the week and about behavior and getting things added to their plan. And
So do you feel like now that you have this diagnosis in your family and you have answers, we'll call it diagnoses or answers, right? Let's just call it
You're
that.
right. Yes. It is helpful information to be able to name something.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now you have this helpful information for both you and your daughter, your oldest.
Yeah.
And what does that now look like for the family? Do you feel like it's brought your relationship closer together? Do you feel like it's made life easier for you guys? I mean, life is hard.
Yeah. I think what is so important is kind of re-saying again, naming something, and it being a conversation in our home versus it being ignored, because that's, what I've experienced with some of my family members, where it's not recognized, it's not believed, and that person really gets,
Sensitive?
know the person that has ADD, who they are is not necessarily validated because, other people aren't really open to receiving it and understanding it and learning about it. And in our home, we learn about it. We talk about it. We understand how it affects us. Just this morning, we had a meltdown between the girls about why one person got something versus the other. And, we all have different needs. We're not the same. And being able to touch on that and say, this person in this family has a different need and is required to have these things. And you have your needs because you're unique and you will have your own needs too. And so when you can have it out there and talk about it, I think it brings light to it.
Yes.
And it brings better understanding. And so I think in the sense that it has brought us closer to always be candid and honest about what we're experiencing. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's so beautiful that you shared that.
Thank you.
I know that it's new.
Yeah.
And it's still sinking in.
Yeah.
And how comfortable and confident we are in it. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes.
And while they can't see us,
yes,
it is very typical for us to show up in coordinating outfits. Always at the job sites we did.
Every time.
So when you showed up
90% of the time.
When you showed up today and we were fully coordinated in our lime green outfits.
You got the green, blue floral top. I have the pistachio lime green pants.
It was perfect.
I know.
It was like we
so in tune.
Yes.
We're
didn't
so
leave any
in tune.
time. So amazing. Thank you for being my first guest. I love you.
I'm so grateful to be here and thank you for being you. And I'm excited for this podcast and I appreciate you choosing me.
This has been Conversations Over Coffee, where we make casual conversations beautiful. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast to make sure you stay up to date on the upcoming episodes. Until the next cup.